Okay, what I want to show you today is if you were in class, what we would be doing is we'd be doing a quick little lab, which is I call the pendulum lab. A pendulum is something that swings back and forth. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work with two different things. We're going to work with a heavy weight and then a little small weight, and so you can see the comparison of the two. You can see that one. Here, I'll bring it up. There you go. You can see one is really big, one is really small. Okay, so on the form it says we have a large sinker and a small sinker, and these are just fish sinkers is really what they are if you were going fishing. So we're comparing those two factors. The other factor we're also comparing is the length of the string for the pendulum swinging back and forth. And then what we have to do is we're looking at the idea of a thing called period, and it's the period of the pendulum, how long it takes it to go over and come back. That's the period. So the first thing we got to do is we're going to use the large one, and I'll put this through here. So what will be happening is we're making it so that it can swing back and forth on this device. All right, so this part, ignore the ones over there. Let's see, just so you can see it. There we go. So all I need to do is I need to make sure that this thing would be 15 centimeters down. All right, so it does need to come up just a little bit. So I'll run it up a little bit. All right, there. Okay, right there is 15 centimeters hanging down. All right. Now, what we would need to do is, according to the directions, we want to count how many times it swings back and forth in 2 minutes. All right. So I would also need to do is make sure that I pull it all the way up to this point so it's straight across. And every single time, that's what I'm going to do is I would pull it all the way up to here. And then I would go, okay, watching the clock, I go ready, set, go, and I go, there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. All right. And I would count how many times it swings back and forth in 2 minutes. All right. Now, the data that I want you to do on this one is I'm going to have you use for the 15 centimeter string, all right, and the large sinker, we're going to put down that it swings back and forth 84 times for trial number 1 and 88 times for trial number 2. So that was the large sinker, 15 centimeters, 84 times for trial 1 and 88 for trial 2. All right. Now we'll switch this. We would switch it to the small sinker. All right. So we'll switch this out, and now we'd have the small sinker. Oops. There we go. Now what I need to do is I need to make sure that it's hanging down by 15 centimeters. The ruler direction. So, all right, there's 15 centimeters. So I'll tighten this up just so it stays there. Okay. So now with the small sinker, we'll do the same idea. What I would do is I got to make sure I bring it all the way over so it's even, starts at the same height. I'd watch my clock and we're going to let it swing for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So I go ready, set, go, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would count it back and forth for 2 minutes. Right? And the two pieces of the data I want you to use for that one, for the small sinker that's 15 centimeters long, is you're going to use for trial number 1, it's 85. And for trial number 2, it's 87. So trial number 1 is 85, trial number 2 is 87. Okay? So that gives us the first two, using the short string. And then we also used the small sinker and we used the big sinker. Now what we're going to do is do the second half of the chart. In the second half, we got to change the string. What's going to happen on the string is it's got to become longer. We need the string to be 25 centimeters long. So let's see. It's got to go even longer. There we go. There's 25. All right. So this is the small sinker at 25. All right, and we do the same idea. And what I do is I pull it all the way up so we start at the same height, so it'd be straight across. And then what I would do is let it go and swing across and come back. So I go 1, 2, and so on. All right, and I would count how many times it swings back and forth in 2 minutes. And the data that we're going to use for that is we're going to use for trial number 1, it goes 40 times. And for trial number 2, it goes 42 times. All right, so that was the small sinker, 25 centimeter length. It goes 40 times for trial number 1 and 42 times for trial number 2. Then what we got to do is change this out And all we do is switch it over to the big sinker. And we got to make it 25 centimeters long. We'll see how I did on that. A little bit low. There we go. There's 25. All right. So now we got the big sinker instead of the little one. So now I would take the big sinker over here, hold it up at the same height. So I'm always starting the same height. The whole idea is keep the variables to a minimum. So I'm always keep doing it the same way. So I hold it level with it and I go ready and count it for 2 minutes and go 1, 2, and so on, and count all the way for 2 minutes. And the data that we're going to use for that one is we're going to use for trial number 1, large sinker, 25 centimeter length. It went 41. Right? So it went 41 times. For trial number 2, it went 42 times. Okay, so that's what you're going to put inside the table. Looks like this, right? In this table right here, right? So these pieces of data right here. So what you're going to have on that table is in the very first box on trial number 1, you're going to have 85. And underneath that, you're going to have 84. Then the third box down is going to be 40. And then the fourth box is going to be 41. And then we go underneath trial number 2 over here. Then the order is 87, 88, 42, and 43. Okay, that gives you the data. And I know this is odd because it's like, well, you want to do the lab, but I know we're doing this virtually. So those would be the pieces of data that you would get if we had been in class and been able to do this in class. If you want to try it at home, you sure can. You can do it. You can see all you need is something that's big. You need something that's small. You don't have to use the fish lures. You can just use exactly that, just something that's big and then something small, and then tie it on a string and then do the 2 lengths, the 15 centimeters and 25 centimeters. You can try it yourself and see what kind of data you get. All right, but I didn't want to count on the idea of you having to find all this stuff for yourself. So with that, now that you have the data, now what you need to do is you need to go through and you need to fill out the paper that is attached on Canvas. You need to answer all the questions. So you got to answer all the questions around here and on the second page. There's the second page that you can download on the Canvas. Then you'll need to submit that. So with that, we'll see you later. Have a great day.